Welcome to Late to the Know-How. I'm Simon and this is session 13. Now before we begin, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping, which is essentially just one item, and that's that I've had some recent real life stuff happen, and so my gaming time is basically going to be limited during the week. So it means that most of this will now be done on the weekends, and the weekends are fairly full with stuff. So the plan of doing it every week or second week may end up blowing out a little bit, but we'll try and keep a bit of a proper schedule. But yeah, so still stick around, please. I'd love you to hang around. But the time between videos might sort of extend out a little bit. Okay, the next thing is that I've added in, I made a stat block for bow, and that's just basically the Scout stat block from the 2024 Monster Manual, and just tweaked it, like gave it her name and just sort of gave her a short bow instead of a long bow because she's a gnome. Yeah, that's basically all I did for that. And I thought for this session, I kind of wanted to do more of a story kind of thing, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. I basically want the party to move on from this part of the forest and stuff. I want them to get out into the world a little bit. So I'm going to just go through. I've made a whole bunch of notes, which you can't really see. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to role play them at West Blackworth, sorting it all out, getting them moving to the next step. They're not going to be solving this tornado storm issue now. We've only just started the campaign, and I want to kind of extend it out a little bit. So basically I'm just going to go through some role play elements of this session. So it'll only probably be a shortish session, and we'll just get them sort of moving to the next point in the campaign, which is hopefully heading towards the other town, which I've totally forgot. Alrighty, yeah. So I'll get the party to move out and head back towards Hothorpe. So at the moment, though, they are at West Blackworth. They've arrived here after the tornadoes come through. The place is a bit of a mess. And what we'll do is I've basically just written down a bunch of notes and stuff about what I want to do in regards to this session, so that we can just have a quick story session and then get them moving on again. So we're going to say it's late afternoon. It's the next day after the tornado's gone through. So they've gotten here, and the first thing that we determine is the level of destruction. Now, in our oracle, we have our little how oracle, which is basically if you need to know the size of something or how extreme something was or how small something was, you can use this oracle to determine that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask the oracle, what's the level of destruction? And we'll just roll on our oracle table. And so we've gotten 2, which is kind of good, because that means that the oracle table says very weak, clearly underpowered, and what that means is that what the level of destruction of the village means it's very minimal. There's not much destruction at all. And in fact, even though I use this map here that's got roofs pulled off and stuff like that, basically, there might be some trees pushed over. Some of the houses might have tiles pulled off and stuff like that, but the damage is basically minimal. So perhaps when the tornadoes come through here, it's actually started to wind down and the power has left the tornado and it's just kind of disappeared with not doing too much damage. Now, depending on the level of destruction, I had things like questions like how many people were injured, were there any did anyone get killed by the storm and stuff like that? So because it's pretty low, because it's very weak, what we'll do is we'll just maybe roll a D10 and just see how many people are injured. No one's died, I don't think. We can ask the Oracle tables, but let's not worry about that. Let's just see, let's just see the level of injury on a certain number of people. So we'll roll to see how many locals have suffered some injuries. 10. So 10 locals. So that's a fair few. 10 locals with injury. Okay, and what that says to me is that they could hear the storm coming, they could hear the tornado coming, the weather built up, and they've all gone into they've tried to get as many of people as they could into the inn, and the inn suffered a bit of damage inside, a bit of shaking, maybe some tiles have fallen, tables have been flipped over, maybe some of the windows, the glass is shattered, and a bunch of people within the inn have suffered some sort of injury, and they'll just be minor injuries. And the townsfolk are basically just triaging everyone in the inn and looking after everyone. And our innkeeper, she's looking after everyone. The mayor's looking after, like, helping and stuff like that to direct. And so when the party get there, they can see that the damage isn't as bad as what they thought it was going to be. They've gone straight to the inn, and maybe, Warby's there. He's able to provide a bit of medical support. All the other party are also able to provide some medical support. So they're generally able to patch the townsfolk up, the villagers up. Alrighty, now the next thing I wanted to do was ask some pretty specific questions. Now, some of the things that we've seen come up are awakened trees, and awakened trees that have had that have been sort of, they're twisted in some way. So I'm basically just going to ask the Oracle, is there an awakened tree in the village? Because that could be something that's linked to these tornadoes. So we'll just use the Oracle. So is there an awakened tree in the village? 8. Yes, success straight away. So basically there's an awakened tree in the village right now. Now, is this awakened tree dead? So let's just see. 6, probably yes. So basically we're going to say they come in, they help out the party, and then they do a bit of looking around, and maybe right over in the corner here somewhere, like right off the map, there's like, you can't see it on the screen here, but there's like a tree over in this section here that looks like it's basically dead. That's going to be an awakened tree that is actually dead. Do they know what happened to this awakened tree? Nope, they don't know. So all they know is that there's this dead awakened tree in the village itself, and of course, as it's part of the as we've found in a lot of the stuff that's happened before, in each awakened tree there was some sort of ethereal trinket. So let's have a look on some tables to see what this ethereal trinket might be. Okay, so I'm just going to use the inspiration tables. I'm not going to worry about a verb this time. I'm just going to use a noun and an adjective to give me an idea of what this trinket might be. So on the noun table, so that's an 8 and a 3. 8 and a 3. So it's throne, as in what a king or a queen sits on. And the adjective is both 7s. 7 and 7. Vast. So a vast throne. A vast throne. All right, let me have a bit of a think. Alrighty, so I thought of something really cool. So a throne could represent like the royalty, the royal family, or the duke who's in charge of this area or something or other. And vast could mean that it's a large area that they're in charge of. So that says to me more likely to be the king or queen of the region. And the throne part of it is that it represents to me, or it says to me, that it's the seal, it's the royal seal, it's the royal stamp that's in this awakened tree. So within the awakened tree, the corpse of the awakened tree, there's this ethereal royal stamp or royal seal. How did it get there? We don't know. We'll find out, I guess. But that's a very important piece of just the local. What would you say? It's. Would they know? Would they know what the seal is? I guess they all would. They would know who the king and the queen, the royal personages would be. So they would know the seal. I'm assuming that the druids and those of the druid party of the gatherer would definitely have some connection to the royal sort of family. So they would know what the seal, the pattern of the seal would be. But they've just seen, like, I guess if you think of like a Chinese style or the Korean old Joseon kind of seals that they used to use, the big stamps with the intricate patterns, maybe it could be something like that, or it could be like the old school wax seal that they used to seal letters and things like that. I don't kind of think it would be a ring or a signet or anything like that. I think it's going to be something substantial, like, the size of a block or something, or other, something where they're stamping ink or pressing wax. Yeah, I like that. So they found another one of these objects, and it's got that same ethereal glow about it. Alrighty. So now we're just going to essentially finish the session off. I know it's kind of going to be pretty short. But yeah, basically what I want to do is I want to get the party moving back outwards from this area. So what I'm going to get them to do, what I'm going to have the party decide to do, is they're going to get Bo to head back to Kilvington, and that was the Druidic centre of learning where the school and everything was. They're going to get her to go back to Kilvington, tell the leader and all the druids there what's going on, what the party have seen, talk to them about the ritual, about the cultists, about the black dragon wormling, about the awakened trees, about the ethereal trinkets that have been found, about the gemstones that they've found as well. And that way, Bo's not going to become part of their party. I kind of don't want to have too many characters that I have to control. So Bo is going to head back to Kilvington, and she'll inform them about what's going on, so that the druids know what's going on. Now, as for the rest of them, they still have a few side quests to do. They have to get to West Blackworth. They have to get to Hothorpe, to do something about Ilvana's bad luck and try to get rid of this coin. And then another couple of things. Well, let's just have a look at the side quests that I've written down. Let's have a look here. So, no, that's not it. Here. Okay. So I have to find out why the awakened tree attacked. They're basically working out now that whenever there's been one of these tornadoes, an awakened tree, or the awakened trees, just get affected by it. And then as part of that, the trinkets end up in like the heart of within the awakened trees. So they're kind of connected together. So I'll mark them down as kind of now being connected together, and they have a little bit more information about what the awakened tree involvement is, and that the trinkets are involved as well, but they're not quite sure how. And the fact that this last awakened tree is a fairly important item, so that could mean something. The other side quests were kind of who are the strange group of magic users. Well, they've worked out there's there's some cultists. There are these cultists that are actually invoking these tornadoes. And then we've got remove the curse for Orvana, which is this this coin they've got to try to get rid of, and get her to be sort of not linked to anymore, which hopefully they'll find out when they get to Hothorpe. And then the other one that I had was follow the track south. Well, we've done that. That was the ritual. So yeah, so basically from this point on, we're going to get the party to move back towards Hothorpe. And I think what I will do is I will fast track them to where the tracks were that they'd gone south. So all that area is free of any sort of drama, and they'll start at that hex. So it'll be 2 days for them to get to that point. So at the moment we're on, let's have a look, I think we're on day 7. Yeah, we're on day 7 at the moment. So they'll spend the night at the village. They'll recuperate, all that sort of stuff, build up their stocks again. Then they'll spend 2 days getting to that end of that hex tile, and then they'll start from that point on. So that means that they'll be there on day 10. So they'll spend the night of day 7 at the village, and then they'll do 8, 9 to the end, the next hex that I want them to get to, and they'll start on day 10, moving forward from that point. So that'll be sort of that'll be our session 14. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I just want to fast track them out of this place and get them moving forward, get them, something away from where they are now. Yeah. So thanks, thanks for putting up with that. And yeah, like I said, I'll probably be a little bit busy with my time, bit of time poor for playing the RPG, the solo RPG stuff, but I will endeavour to try and get them done on the weekend. It's just a matter of when I can get time, but they definitely will be. I will be trying to schedule them pretty regularly, if not every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks, but we'll see how things go. So thank you very much for joining me again. Please stick around for the next lots of sessions. I'm hoping to have some really good stuff come up. It's all done with the oracles, so it's all random and stuff. So hopefully we'll get some more randomness and some freaky stuff happening. But again, thank you very much for coming along with the journey, and have a great great rest of your week. Where's the credits? There it is.